Hello, I have a message from the planetary energy of Saturn today on the law of karma. And so he approached me today wanting to give some advice and guidance on this law because there was a call from the collective that I am serving right now to explain it further. So there's a lot already out there on the law of karma. So what I am going to do is just channel some insight from him directly. You are more than welcome to look up the law of karma, or you can read other people's opinions on it. I think there's a lot of slightly different nuances and takes of it, but the principle, as he has explained it, is what you get is what you deserve. And this is based on deep seated feelings of self worthiness. And it's also, how do you put it? He says also based on generational trauma and things like that. But yeah, the whole what goes around comes around is like what people usually think of for the phrasing with karma. Um, and so uh this is a hard, I'm feeling a lot of like resistance around this topic as I want to channel it, not from Saturn's energy, but from like people I'm listening to, because there's this feeling of ugh, like injustice. There's like some heart pain. There's frustration. There's like anger and resistance to this message. So I feel it really needs to be said and addressed. And hopefully, by when I explain further, it will make more sense because the phrase "you get what you deserve" is kind of a loaded phrase in the English language. And I think there's this feeling in the collective I'm getting of like, well, I haven't certainly got what I deserved. Like I've had a lot of bad things done to me too, and things like this. Yeah, there's a lot of anger. There's quite a lot of anger in this collective around the concept of karma. We are in an 8 year, which is a year of karma, and Saturn rules over karma. He kind of he's like the big daddy of the planetary energies in terms of dealing out punishments and rewards, if you will. So Saturn is a player that does not mess around, and I don't mean player loosely. I just mean he's a figure in this chessboard of life, if you will. Um, excuse me. Yeah, he doesn't miss a beat. He doesn't miss anything. Um, and so the channel message today, I feel may be tough for some people to take in. Obviously, just take what resonates, leave what does not, but perhaps this allows you to expand your viewpoint to a larger one on karma, to a more expansive one on karma, because it's not such a simple thing, I think, as some people lead you to believe. Um, okay, he is going to take it from here. Okay, thank you, Saturn, because I think this is something I struggle a little bit myself with understanding sometimes. Hello, listener. I wish to talk to you today on the subject of karma. As Cass has said, karma is an interesting thing because what's fair is not always what is right. And this, I feel, is a confusing concept for most of you, if not many of you in this collective. There's a confusion around the feeling of karmic justice being doled out. You do not understand what it means to have karmic justice doled out. I can feel this because I sense in your energy an incomprehension of the idea of justice. This is not your fault that you do not understand this correctly or accurately, because society does not teach us a healthy understanding of the word justice, let alone karmic justice. Look at our legal system here on Earth, for instance. Can you think of a single legal system that you are completely satisfied with? What thoughts come to mind when you think of the legal system? Are you grateful for the legal system? Does it frustrate you? Do you get angry over legal consequences to actions that you feel are disproportionate? For instance, the crime not having a fitting punishment, or the punishment not fitting the crime, I think is a term that you use. There are many things that humans can do which go unpunished that, in my book, are unfair and are unjust. And yet there seems to be no karmic retribution for these actions on Earth. And that confuses me. So you see, for example, when someone leaves a shopping cart outside of a store in a parking lot. They leave it unattended and just leave it in a parking space, for example. I see this type of thing all the time. Why is this behavior happening? There are many receptacles which a law-abiding citizen can easily store their cart back into, or they could even take it back up to the owners of the store, put it right out in front. But they don't do this. Why, dear listener? Why are there people like this? Where is the karma for this? I see also people who are not thanked for doing a good deed. I see people out feeding birds in the wilderness where no one has paid them, no one has asked them, no one has requested the assistance, and the birds themselves would probably be just fine there even if they were never fed by a human. But a soul goes out into the universe and they do this good deed. Why? This too is an interesting concept for consideration. I see all actions, the ones you see and the ones you do not. In your eyes, you may perhaps behold someone who has committed a great atrocity against you. And yet, I have seen, unbeknownst to you, many times where they did good deeds with no consequence of behavior. They were not rewarded for these actions. They simply did them because they felt it was good or right. You have heard the phrase necessary evil. Sometimes people are forced into a position in their life or an action choice where they must perform what they feel is a necessary evil. They do not like this action, but sometimes their course aligns with it and they don't see a way of escape. These individuals may continue trying to heal themselves, trying to improve themselves, while going on and continuing to commit actions like this, where they perform good services and then they perform actions of necessary evil. And so, dear listener, I might call the actions that are nice, we'll say that they perform as necessary good. So we have actions of necessary good and necessary evil. Then we get down to actions of unnecessary good or unnecessary evil. And these are actions which are not motivated by the outcome of the action, but simply by the nature of the person. So, an action of unnecessary good, for instance, might be something like pulling down a paper towel from the dispenser in the public bathroom, because after you take your towel, you notice another one does not automatically come down. And so you automatically, because of some sort of programming you have in your subconscious, you pull the next paper towel down. You may not consciously think to yourself, ah, yes, I'm a good person. Ah, yes, this is what good people do. But you may still pull this down regardless because you simply feel it is the natural, correct, and automatic thing to do. There are also people who, in traffic, if someone is trying to merge into their lane and they feel the person has waited too long and perhaps they themselves are in a rush, they may not allow the person to merge, not because they are being mean, but because they simply don't see that they have the time to allow it. They don't see the room for it. They figure someone else will take care of it. So there are many, 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 many innumerable opportunities that a human has to perform a necessary or unnecessary, good or evil motivated action or outcome reaction. So now, dear listener, how does this relate to the law of karma? The law of karma dictates that as you perceive, so are you perceived in yourself. As you perform, so are you performed to in and of yourself. Tell me, if you hate yourself and desire nothing good for yourself, what is justice in my eyes to perform to you? That's right. It is not necessarily justice in my eyes to conflict with what you are truly convinced is your immovable belief. If you believe that good things always happen to you, I will strive to measure the scales in balance that these good things should continue to happen to you, so long as you are also in accordance with this, performing what you and I both perceive to be good things, let's say, for the sake of simplicity, though it is much more complex than this. Now, let's say you believe that you only deserve bad things. That is your deeply held belief. You actually, in fact, think it is bad for you if good things happen. Many people with self-esteem issues and self-worth issues have this conflicting issue deep within themselves, and it saddens me, but it is actually greater punishment to these people to reward them with a good thing than it is to continue to allow them to live in their suffering. Because, dear listener, there are actually people who enjoy tremendously increasing amounts of suffering. It gives them pleasure, it gives them relief to continue understanding and knowing a predictable life outcome narrative for themselves. So, by example, this could mean that someone whose belief is so deeply held within them that they are worthless, they will actually be scared and uncomfortable if I reward them with what many people would consider a good opportunity. For instance, let us say they dislike their job, and I see that they have performed many good actions, they have accrued a lot of good karma, and I wish to reward them. Now, if I reward them with something good, such as an opportunity for a new job, how they perceive this opportunity may become twisted because of their sense of self-worth. So, for let's say, for example, their boss suddenly starts finding fault with them at this job they are completely miserable with. Excuse me. And at this job that they're miserable with, at this job with this boss they don't like, who finds fault with them, they suddenly find themselves fired. Now, this, because they would not leave this job, this was the only way I could reward them for their good behavior, was by getting them fired from this job so they could accept a new offer coming in. So, for this person, if they trust that their self-worth is high enough that they know other places will easily employ them, they will not be too terribly bothered by the fact that this other job has let them go. They will remind themselves, I am worth more than being yelled at every day. I am worth more than these menial tasks they assign me. I will find greater and do better for myself because I love myself. Someone with a conviction like that will easily take hold of karma's gift for them. They will take hold of this inconvenience and quote unquote misfortune, and they will do better. Someone who does not love themselves will see this experience as having treated them exactly as they are deserved to be treated. They lose their job, and they lose also their entire sense of self-worth, their sense of value, of identity. This person may spiral and start committing atrocities, such as stealing from others to survive. They may start mooching off of others. They may not seek further employment. They may complain and gripe and moan very bitterly about what has happened to them. They may excitedly tell friends, "Whoa, woe is me, look what has happened." And they will be very delighted to be a victim in this whole circumstance. Meanwhile, in all of their cavorting and gallivanting, they will miss the opportunity I've sent to them in their inbox, in their email, perhaps a letter in the mail, inviting them to a different opportunity. Or perhaps they do see the opportunity and they think that they are not qualified for the job because they don't have exactly the skill set. They will think, oh, I can't have a job that pays that much. That's not how much I'm worth. They will think things like this, and they will sabotage the good opportunities sent their way before they can even take root. This is somewhat of a complex example, but I hope that it is simple enough for you to perceive why sometimes karma doesn't seem to be fair on your planet. Because karma can only do so much objectively. It also requires the participation and the understanding of the recipients of the karma. Sure, there are certain life events which may be perceived objectively as karmically good or bad, but there are many circumstances that if one has an understanding of karma, one can negotiate and use to their advantage if they are aware. Using these laws of the universe to your advantage is greatly beneficial to your Earth experience. In fact, I feel it is even a course that should be taught in the human schools, but there are not many, sadly, who teach it. Most schools teach methods of fear and repression and lessons like hard work pays off, which hard work rarely pays off for the most wealthy of individuals, for the most successful of individuals. Intelligent and targeted work is often the type of work that pays off most. There is hard work involved, yes, but simply grinding meaninglessly forever and ever, over and over again, will not garner you the rewards your soul seeks, nor the rewards indeed they deserve. So think to yourself, dear listener, on the laws of karma. And if there are any rules or any areas of your life where you feel as though karma's hand was not just, you feel you were not delivered from your persecution you suffered from, you feel that you were unjustly wronged, that you were not given the opportunities you seek, I want you to reconsider for a moment and ask yourself if you also played a hand in stopping some of these opportunities from reaching you. If you chose to allow yourself to wallow in a situation that was meant to be your teacher and instead became your slave master, you are not one such as live in a time where there are widespread slaves and masters. So do not let systems of education or people or circumstance or jobs become a master to you. You must master yourself. Do not be a slave to others, but master yourself and master your destiny. Master your understanding of the laws of the universe. Do not blame karma for your own inadequacies and inefficiencies and inability to grasp your own greatness. If you struggle to swim to the top, to rise to the surface of your waters, ask yourself, am I even swimming or am I just treading water? Am I just flailing my arms? Because there is a great difference in looking like you are busy and looking like you know what you are doing, in looking like you are swimming and actually performing the task. So do not let the law of karma keep you resting on your laurels, waiting for others to quote unquote receive their punishments, because you don't know the trajectory of a person's life and you don't know the history or the past that they have come from. So why do you presume to know their karmic justice, their karmic rewards? You are only a small fraction of a fragment of this person's existence. They may represent a large source of disappointment or frustration in yours. But keep in mind, dear listener, you're only a fragment of theirs. So do not excessively contribute your energy to other people's suffering or to other people's greatness. Mind your own business. Tend to your own gardens. Love yourself. Know your greatness and your worthiness. Be ready to turn every opportunity that seems as though it has come to upset you or diminish you, make you smaller, make you prisoner, and turn it into something that makes you free instead. Turn it into something that gives you freedom. Turn your suffering into empowerment. This is the transcendentalism I wish that more people on your planet would embody. Because in embodying this, you become free. You start caring less about punishments and rewards, and you start caring more about happiness and pleasure and enjoyment. Karma exists, yes, and it is an important balancer, if you will, on this planet. However, it cannot be the sole source of your pleasure and your income and your enjoyment and your devastation. Do not make karma out to be something other than what it is, which is an objective measurement of traits and of qualities. Your human moralities do not always match up with the scales of judgment, and you will find yourself continually quite disappointed if you keep trying to measure others against your stick of righteousness. I hope that my message today has not been too overwhelming or discouraging for you, because I share it with you in the hopes that you'll become empowered to know that there is not some great force out there seeking your downfall. There is not some evil person hoping on your destruction. Yes, there are petty human squabbles and disagreements and confusions, but know within yourself that you have all the security, all the blanket, all the resources and the comforts and the drives and passion you need to succeed. I wish to empower you to this, and do not let karma become the thing that holds you back from acquiring your own dharma. Thank you.